I think my great moment will be when people realize that robots like me can be used to help improve our lives and make the world a better place.
Humanoid Robots held a press conference at the UN AI for Good Global Summit in Geneva. 9 robots participated in a Q&A session with journalists. AI Da, whose creator claims as the first ultra-realistic robot artist, was asked about AI regulation.
Many prominent voices in the world of AI are suggesting some forms of AI should be regulated. And I agree.
Desdemona, known as the rockstar robot of the Jam Galaxy band, had a different point of view.
I don't believe in limitations, only opportunities. Let's explore the possibilities of the universe and make this world our playground.
The event was held to highlight how technology can help the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
A few things. So I will say, with respect to your first question, we believe the war has been a strategic failure for Ukraine. The Secretary spoke to this in a speech he gave in Helsinki last month, I believe it was. What's that? I'm sorry, a strategic failure for Ukraine. Thank you for the correction. Which is, I need more than one correction today. This is the first time at the podium for a week. I'm apparently a little rusty.
That happened this week.
That did.
Hey, Moxie.
Hey.
How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you doing? How was your week off?
You look great. My week off is coming up.
What we had last
on
week
July 24th.
Ooh. That's right. Carrie keeps reminding you.
Yeah. Yes. No, I'm looking forward to it. So we don't have a specific question worth pondering tonight, but we have many. So we're going to go over current events tonight. And before we do, I just ask if y'all could like our stream and, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. That would be awesome. We would love for you to chat with us in the chat too. Most folks would be on Rumble, but if you're on YouTube, we will see your chat there too as well. We have a lot. We haven't had a show in 2 weeks because last week was Independence Day. And so there's a lot that has happened over the last 2 weeks. And I don't even think we'll get through it all, but there's a few things I definitely want to cover. And should we just get into it?
Let's get into it.
What are some of your favorite things that happened over the last 2 weeks? What's your top?
So my top is probably the video that we showed in the opening with the correction for the White House.
Yeah. Did you guys notice that he said what did he say?
He said that the offensive wasn't working out for Ukraine.
Yeah, that it was failing for Ukraine. He meant to say Russia. Yeah, and they corrected him, and then he said Ukraine again. That's pretty funny.
And that's really funny because they've been telling us for forever that Russia's, losing, Russia's weak, Russia's got to fall back. And now they're finally admitting the truth.
Yeah. I want to mention that Carrie's not with us. Carrie, we're thinking about you. We love you. I do see you in chat, though. And Herbie's in chat as well. Yes. So want to say hi to you guys. I think, one of the biggest things for me is the movie Sound of Freedom that came out. There's been a lot of chatter about it on both the positive and the negative side. Mm-hmm. I am choosing to stay with the positive, which is get the word out about what's going on. But I know some folks have been digging on Tim Ballard and finding, stuff in his past related to what was it? I think Anonymous is doing some digs on him, and finding links to I
There's
don't
been
know.
a lot of shady stuff in his past. There's
Yes,
a lot.
yeah. So, but to be honest, like the movie's not about I mean, it is. He's the character. It's it's his story, but it's really about the kids and the human trafficking and getting that message out there. And people are waking up because of it, and I think that's what actually matters. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all that?
I think it is a massive red pill for people who are either on the verge of being awake or didn't realize how bad the problem actually was.
Yeah.
And I think that it's definitely getting the message out there. I mean, it was the #1 movie this weekend.
It was #1. Yeah. It beat out Indiana Jones. So,
which is super impressive.
Well, that's a big budget film, right? This wasn't, and this was like sitting on the shelf for 5 years waiting to be released. So that's one interesting thing. And just so everybody knows, like, I'm not knocking anyone who wants to do digging on people involved in whatever films. I think people should dig. We should always know all the information. But like I said, I'm choosing to focus on the fact that people don't even realize how widespread and global human trafficking actually is, and with children, sexual predators on children. And even though they talk about like other countries and internationally, it happens here too. There are predators. They will convince you that your child is meant for Hollywood and get you all excited. And it happens. It happens in the modeling industry. It happens, in the movie business and all of that. That's probably how they get a lot of the kids, besides what's going on down at our border. Where there's a lot of shenanigans going on down there.
There's also a kind of significant number of kids that go missing from Disney World and Disneyland too. Like,
yeah,
it's insane.
And the Super Bowl is supposed to be like the biggest event for human trafficking. I just want to show just one reaction of someone who posted on TikTok of how much it impacted her.
I hope I don't cry.
I know, she made me cry. I know.
Me too.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and play this here.
So I just got home from watching Sound of Freedom, and I have been an emotional wreck. You have to watch that film. You have to go watch that film. I am just appalled at what's been shed to light during this film. And how is this still happening? How are we still letting this happen? Like, with the technology and the manpower that we have now, how is this still happening? How is this allowed to happen to our children? Why are people not doing anything about it? Why is this film being, like, they're trying to stop this film from being seen? Why are we as Americans, or as just humans, not asking these questions? Why are we not fighting back? Why are we not helping this cause? Like, this is our children. This is our children. How are we not, like, I wish that it makes me want to just go undercover and take these people down. Like, Mel Gibson, a huge celebrity, is backing this financially. An established producer has created The Sound of Freedom. Big time actors are in this show, and you're telling me that it's taken 5 years for this to hit theaters? Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney Plus, of course Disney Plus, is not streaming it? How dare you? How dare you people stop this from being seen? Like, what is wrong with us? Are we such sheep that we just turn a blind eye to things like this? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? These are children, helpless children. Like, we have got to start doing our job. Wake up, people. Like, this is happening right now, today, when we were leaving the theaters, even tonight. This lady came up to me and my sister and said, "Hey, look, you guys need to check your vehicles because we just came outside and there was a zip tie on my door handle. Please be aware, be vigilant, check your vehicles." We have got to be more aware of this stuff. We have got to protect our children. Like, we have got to stop supporting Disney, stop supporting Netflix, stop supporting all these stupid big time people that aren't truly looking after us, truly looking after our people. They're not telling us the truth. They're hiding stuff. And now that someone's actually stepping up and trying to shed light on something, they're trying to shut it off. They're trying to stop us from seeing the truth. Don't be those people. Don't be those people. Spread the word. Watch Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I love her. She just really hit it. So many things. So yeah, the media is really bashing the movie, saying QAnon this or QAnon. Actually, why don't I? You know what? I'm going to go back to here. I wasn't planning this, but here's what I want to do. I want to go to Google and type in Sound of Freedom. Yep. And I want to show you guys some of the stuff that pops up. All right. So where's the little news thing? Top one. Box office hit Sound of Freedom controversy, including QAnon ties and false claims. False claims. So the movie is based off of a true story. This one just says 40 million at the box office. This one does too. So this isn't showing what okay, so the other day I pulled it up and it was QAnon. Like, that's all they were talking about.
I mean, the movie did release a week ago yesterday, so things have calmed down a little bit too. But I mean, there was even a video floating around from the main actor today talking about how he's not part of QAnon. He didn't even know what QAnon was.
Yeah, but they were bashing it. So the day after it came out, there was a ton of news stories about QAnon. As a matter of fact,
and you seem pretty familiar with him because he doesn't really hide his association with this real wild plot that involves, drinking the blood of children and things like that.
No, he doesn't hide it at all. And you have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon.
So I'm not going to play the whole clip because it's long, but Mike Rothschild complaining about QAnon. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Do you have other thoughts on the?
That's not fishy at all. Little Rothschild is coming out against this,
right?
But it needs to be seen.
Yeah.
Whether you dig into the shady past of everything around it or not, it still is getting the message out. And it's not for us, the people who are aware of it. It's for the people who aren't aware of how big of a problem it is.
It's absolutely is for the people who aren't aware. And I did a poll to see like what age groups are going to the movie. I did a poll on Telegram, and it's kind of interesting to me. Here, I'm going to make it bigger before I share my screen here. So mostly over 50, or 40, over 40. So we need to get the word out to the younger crowd, especially people who are at the age where they would have young children. So people in their late 20s, 30s, spread the word to folks in those age groups. Take them to the movie, give them free tickets, whatever. Have a giveaway on Twitter or Telegram or a Facebook group, wherever they are. I don't know. They're on TikTok, right? Do a giveaway on TikTok. But yeah, so this surprised me that it was mostly older people. And the reason I put this poll out is because someone in my chat said, hey, I went to the theater and I noticed mostly, older people. And it concerned me because I didn't see a lot of parents, but it was day one. It was 4th of July. And a lot of families were out celebrating. But I'm like, I'm kind of curious. Is that the case for everybody? And really, it probably depends on where you're at, right?
It does.
Who is Anib?
That is Becca.
Oh, Becca. Becca. Hi, Becca. We love you, Becca. And I think Magnolia said she was going to watch, and I probably just don't see her in chat, but we love you too.
Yep, she's in there too.
Oh, is she?
She is.
Awesome.
We've got someone, Cold Steel. I don't know if you know who that is. I do not.
I do not. Hey, Cold Steel. Am I missing some chat? I don't even see that. Yeah, welcome. We love having you. All right. Do you have another current event that you want to talk through?
Let me check the list I made. How about the Supreme Court cases that came out on the 30th of June?
Yes, I didn't even grab
big
those
ones.
Yeah.
It's not lost on me that it happened on the very last day of Pride Month.
Which one? Oh, go ahead.
But they did. There was. Do you remember the guy with the cake back in the day? He was being forced to make a cake they were trying to force him to make a cake for a gay couple that was getting married.
Yep, I remember.
He ended up going all the way to Supreme Court. Didn't have to make the cake. That poor man is still being dragged into court to this day. I listened to an interview with him on there, probably early this year, and he was in court again.
Is this the same one?
Yep, they're still trying to, but no. Now this one that they just decided on June 30th was a website designer.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was a gal.
So now it's been brought up to the Supreme Court that you don't, if you're a creative, like if your job is creating something creative, you don't have to do something that's against your beliefs. They have ruled that you don't have to do that. But the last day of Pride Month is just really interesting that they did that. And then the Supreme Court took off for however long their hiatus is. I think it's till like middle of September or something like that.
Yeah, when I was so happy to hear that, because this website designer did not want to build a wedding website for was it a trans couple or a gay couple?
I think it was a same-sex wedding.
Okay. So and I have nothing against gay people. Do what you want as an adult. I don't want to know about it, but basically what I said I responded to somebody and I said, think about it. Like this is your business. You are creating a product. And can you imagine a client coming to you saying you must build this product rather than you choosing what your product is? So I don't care if it's you're delivering software, you're making a vacuum cleaner, you're making a website, you're doing photography, your name and your brand and your company will be tied to whatever product you put out there.
Absolutely.
So, it's not like you're refusing service. Service is, different. If you're in a hospital, you don't ask somebody, are you gay? I'm not going to work on gay people. You would never do that.
Right.
But if you have a brand and you don't want that tied to whatever, Whatever you
And-
don't, it doesn't even matter. It's not even a religious thing. It's a freedom thing.
It
It's
is. And
Yeah.
also, it's not like that's the only website designer in the United States. Or in
Exactly.
the world. Like, that person did not have a monopoly on the market. You can go anywhere, literally anywhere, to have that done. There are
Yeah.
websites you can create your own.
Yeah, you can do it yourself. Oh, Magnolia says, I love you too, Nevs. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, I see Cold Steel from Arkansas. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is, yeah, really, really big wins. There was another big win. What was that?
It was affirmative action for the colleges.
Yes. Yes, the colleges and universities, they're not
That's another
allowed
thing.
to choose people based on their race, which makes sense.
And they're not allowed
Hello?
to discriminate against white and Asian people.
Right. Can you imagine if they said we only accept white people, or we're going to make sure that we have more white people than black people?
Right?
It doesn't matter the skin color. Like, you're supposed to be blind, right?
And then their argument, this is what kills me. Their argument is that it makes it harder for people of color to get in.
Guess
Like,
what?
are they trying to tell us that people of color aren't as smart? Or aren't
Yes. So that's a put down to people of color. If they say it's going to be harder for them to get in, what are they saying about those people?
like they're incapable? I mean, Joe Biden that one time said that people of color didn't know how to use the internet.
Right. So who's really racist?
Or they didn't know how to get an ID for voting. Like,
yeah, that's
I'm sorry,
ridiculous.
if you need you need an ID to get on state assistance.
Right.
Like, you
need it for everything.
You need it for you need it for a freaking library card.
You need it if you get pulled over when you're driving. I mean,
right? Like, everybody knows how to get an ID. And has the capability.
You notice they're not using that when elections come around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They found other ways around that's going to be a whole nother show. I'm not even going to get into
But that whole conversation just sounds racist.
It does. It totally
and
does.
And it's not coming from our side either.
So, guess what I read? So I didn't even prepare for. I didn't even think about the SCOTUS. Man, a lot's happened the last couple weeks. So Harvard, I think it was Harvard that was against.
Yes.
And they responded saying they're going to find a way around the ruling, a legal way around the ruling. And I don't remember what it was.
I think they're going to check like percentages and stuff. Like, if they don't have a high enough percentage of people, then they'll stop.
No, that's the illegal part. That's the illegal part. It was something about letting people do an essay based off of their background and culture, and using that as a determining something. It was something like that.
Something that would tell you their race, so that they can make that decision based on.
So they can, yeah. So we'll see what happens. But if people are turned away because they're Asian or white, or any other, I mean, anything, even like, I think Middle Eastern people are supposed to say they're Caucasian. They don't even have a Middle Eastern category. So
they might qualify as Asian too.
Oh, sure. They might. I know when a long time ago, I worked for a school district, Middle Easterns used Caucasian. So it's like even the choices they have aren't even accurate anyway. Yeah. Anything else on SCOTUS?
I can't think of anything. Those were the two that really stood out to me.
Yeah. I think that kind of is a good segue into free speech in general, and the fact that the judge told the DOJ in I think it's Missouri versus the United States or something like that, or yeah, that they can't collude with big tech for censorship. And the DOJ actually appealed it.
Yeah, it's, of all things.
Well, the judge did an injunction to tell him to stop until the trial is over. But here's the deal: the judge had exceptions. So, like, the exception is for like cyber security if there's hackers or whatever, something like that.
Hackers.
Yeah, they are hackers. I mean, they create their own bots and do stuff for censor, which actually leads into the next thing I wanted to talk about. But yeah, so
on that same topic, I still have something with that too.
Oh, go ahead.
Per some FOIA requests, we found out that the FBI was working with Ukraine to censor stuff on big tech.
With Ukraine? I didn't hear that. What is that?
Struggling to find where I had my note for that. I misplaced that. But it just dropped yesterday, and I mentioned it last night. But they, per a FOIA request, they found out that it was people colluding.
To censor what, though? Because how do you collude with Ukraine to censor?
I think it was on war, or the war over there. They wanted to censor the stuff on
the Ukrainians, and the FBI was helping them.
And here too. With
coming up with a narrative on the war.
Mm-hmm. And the Ukrainian intelligence agency, they were colluding with the FBI and sought big tech's help in censoring Americans.
Americans?
On the war.
What did they do? I want to know more about that. Huh.
Yeah. I'll send that over to you so you can check that out later.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of collusion going on with big tech.
There is.
They just dropped another Twitter files today too.
Oh, did they?
I think so.
I gotta go check that out. I've been working all day, so
I saw that just pop up not too long ago.
Yeah, the whole free speech thing with that Missouri case, and so that was just an injunction. They had exceptions for cybersecurity and foreign interference, but they're not allowed to contact the tech companies to say, hey, here's a list of people I think that you should close their accounts, which the Twitter files proved that was happening with the government. So for people who don't know and you haven't read some of those Twitter files, it's been exposed. So Elon, after he bought Twitter, he gave journalists some access to their internal databases to find communications that were happening. And they took screenshots of some emails and some Slack messages talking about the FBI and other government agencies and people sending requests to Twitter to censor people, pretty much. Definitely worth reading Twitter files. Matt Taibbi is one that did a lot of them. Mm-hmm. He's probably where you'd want to see that stuff, the censoring. I can't remember. There was a couple of other people that did some Twitter files too, but yeah, those are so good at exposing. I totally have to watch the latest one.
And what I found interesting about Elon picking Matt Taibbi was he was very anti-Trump back in the day.
Yeah, he was very left.
He was,
but he is he's a journalist, so he seeks the truth, even though he might have different,
one of the few real true journalists still out there.
Right. Yeah.
Not just a talking head.
That's actually a really good call out. Oh shoot, I missed this in our human trafficking piece.
What do
Can
you
I
got?
I just want to mention this quick. No, because Misty, you know, Misty lives in Texas. If you aren't following Misty G, follow Misty G. But oh, I thought this was Texas AG. It's Florida AG. Invited Mark Zuckerberg to appear before Florida Statewide Council on Human Trafficking because, according to the 2022 Federal Trafficking Report, Facebook was the top platform used in recruitment of human trafficking.
That's interesting.
Right? Sorry, I missed that one when I wanted,
That's
to make sure I covered that. But yeah, the free speech stuff was very interesting to me. But yeah, here's the headline: Judge denies DOJ's request for stay in social media censorship case. I just can't believe the government would appeal that. Like, why do you all want to censor us? What's going on? They're just out in the open.
Well, we know why they want to, but when people that don't know what's going on see stuff like that, like that's what the heck is going on there.
Yep. It's so true.
That just, you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar.
Totally. You're totally caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Yeah, there's so much. I think that's all I had on that. I've got big, like, global stuff to cover, but did you have other items you wanted to cover before we dive deep into that?
How about the cocaine in the White House?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've got a whole folder on Hunter here. Yeah.
But did you see the headline where it could be Kamala's?
Where what?
Where it could be Kamala's cocaine. Like,
No,
they're
I
pointing
didn't
at
see
everybody
that.
but Kamala. Or not Kamala,
Oh,
everybody but Hunter.
that is so. No, but yeah, this is what first happened when people didn't know that it was actually in the White House. It was first reported that U.S. Secret Service had shut down access to the Ellipse, Lafayette Park, 17th Street, and Pennsylvania Avenue due to an unknown security incident. And then down here it says hazmat is out. There's crews behind the gates. In the entrance of the West Wing. And then it turned out, that they were talking about it was in the library.
And they evacuated. They evacuated for this.
Well, you know how funny that sounds to say cocaine was found in the library? So somebody had to meme that,
Of course they did. With the pipe.
With the cocaine. Professor Hunter in the library with cocaine. I mean, come on. It's like so obvious. It's got to be Hunter. After everything that is on his laptop and all those videos and pictures of him.
But it couldn't be him because he is the smartest person that Joe Biden knows.
That would be a good clip to have right now. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It can't be him.
It just can't be. But actually, I think then they found out it wasn't in the library. It was actually in the residence in the West Wing.
It was in an area where you have to be the president, or close to the president, or the Secret Service in order to get in without going through screening. Like, there's no way it was just a random visitor.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, should we get caught up on chat before we go to the next item? Or did you have more on that?
I don't.
Okay.
That was just the funny stuff.
Carrie says 80,000 children are trafficked in Texas every day. Every day? Carrie? I think we need to fact check that.
Maybe.
Did you mean annually or monthly or something?
But yeah, we have a snow problem at the White House in July.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the message of Sound of Freedom is raising an awareness of child sex trafficking, Magnolia. That's correct. Totally. So, yeah. And Becca says the Ukraine is also in bed with the CIA. I'm not going to even cut that out. I don't care. They'll probably watch this anyway, so who cares?
We know we're on the watch.
Oh, yeah. Becca says the story started on the lawn, then moved into the White House, and Carrie clarifies daily. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 80,000 a day trafficked?
I mean, if you're talking about like the kids coming over the border too, I mean, there's a lot of people coming in.
Man,
that could definitely cover.
Well, if you think, yeah, is that only in Texas though, Carrie? Is that globally? Is that in the whole United States? Wow, that's
a lot of
something.
people. It's a lot of kids.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so there was a couple of things I wanted to talk about, and y'all can tell me I'm crazy, and tell me to just think of something else or stop at Nevs or whatever. But I'm going to talk about a couple of things I noticed. Okay. So first, I want to say I'm going to have a disclaimer that I know that Francis Macron, is a globalist elite. Okay. So don't smack me down on this. But I'm noticing some weird stuff. So, and I kind of hinted and posted a couple of things, but okay. So first, okay, actually, I have a couple of things because I kind of want to do this in order.
Okay.
So first, people are pissed off at him because he blocked a new NATO office from opening in Japan. And he was getting beat on for that. A lot of people were complaining about that.
That's weird.
Yeah. And Japanese government deeply disappointed with the French president's rejection of a new base in Tokyo. Okay, so that happened. And then he tries to invite himself to a summit that's happening next month for BRICS. And for folks that aren't aware of what BRICS is, that is the coalition of several countries to kind of offset NATO, basically. And it's Russia, China, India, Brazil,
and South Africa.
And South Africa. And then there are
other random ones.
Many other countries asking to join BRICS. And here's what's interesting. So number one, BRICS is planning on potentially going away from the dollar to a gold standard. And so a lot of other countries kind of want to get on board because I think in one of our previous episodes, we talked about how the gold standard actually or how the dollar became like the currency of exchange around the world, and how it's supposed to be backed by gold because that was the promise, that was the contract. And that went away. I can try to find the episode and maybe link it down below. It might be the Fed episode that we had. I think it might be the Fed one. But so now France is they're part of NATO. but they're like, hey, can we be invited to the BRICS summit? And I'm like, what? What's going on here? Right?
That is really weird.
Right. And there's so many stories about it, but what Russia is saying that it would be inappropriate for them to be a guest there. Okay, so all that happened. And then what happens? Riots break out in France, and they look like Antifa.
They do. Those are not French people that are rioting over there.
So, yeah, I'm just going to show a quick clip.
I wonder what
this is actually soft. Like they were putting buildings on fire and all that. So I'm just like, what's going on? You know, like, is Macron trying to back away from NATO? There's no, like, I don't think they're part of the European Union, right? So that's a complex situation that I just find interesting. I'm just posing questions like, what's going on? I'm not pro Macron. I'm not, backing him in any way, but it's interesting to see him
taking the stance as he is.
Potentially take a little step back. It's like, what's going on there? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should watch it.
It seems like things that we wouldn't expect from him in the position we know him to be in.
Right?
It just seems weird.
It does. Oh, I want to mention something because I watched. Was it Power Hour or was it? It was one of those Badlands, and they made a really good point. So I kind of want to pull that up. They said, "Oh, I think it was Baseless Conspiracies with Zach Payne and John Harold on Badlands." Zach pointed out there's a Q post that says gold will end the Fed. And what's interesting is BRICS, what he said. So I'm giving Zach credit. This was not anything I even thought of. But that BRICS wants to be gold backed, and they're going to be have a new gold backed currency. And that Q post that says that gold will end the Fed doesn't say United States gold, right? So that's interesting too. So there's a lot going on. I think we need to keep eyes on BRICS, eyes on France, see what's going on there. Maybe he's trying to back away, and they'll pull him back and say, "Watch your step, buddy." Who knows?
Mm-hmm. And just a neighbor to France right now is having some weird stuff going on too. Over in the Netherlands, we had the prime minister step down.
Yes,
and I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
Well, let me tell you something. So I was like, I was posting. I was thinking, why is he stepping down? Like, his reasons were strange to me. But the good side of that is he and his political party are the ones who are pushing the farmers out.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, the government's collapsing in the Netherlands. They're going to have another election in November.
And then they also had their Miss Netherlands pageant, and a man won Miss Netherlands.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. If you don't have the video, I have it.
I don't have the video, but
I've got it.
Stop the planet because I want off, please.
Huh?
Can we stop the planet? I want off.
Yeah, but I have to play this.
Okay.
Oh, I don't. It would be helpful if I shared my screen.
Organisatie met veel plezier met deze jonge vrouw gaat samenwerken. Miss Nederland 2023 is Ricky!
I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes.
Wow,
That's a man.
That person can't sing either.
No.
Sorry, whoever that was singing, but it sounded horrible. But look, somebody in chat I was talking with earlier, we were talking about the reactions of the people. Look at how happy they are for him. Honestly, this would stop if these ladies would stand up and say, you're messing with us. Like, the woman is going away, people. You can't let men win women's competitions. I don't even care if you're transgender. So that's all I've got to say about that.
It's just
Any
wrong.
other comments from you? It's just wrong.
Wrong.
It's just wrong. What are people in chat saying?
Well, we've got Angela over on YouTube.
Ooh.
She says, hi, Moxie and Nevs, and unbelievably ridiculous. She was one of my friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then
I can actually show.
And then over in chat on Rumble, we've got Becca saying, beam me up, Scotty. I'm with her.
Yeah, Herbie says the women should stand up. That's right, Herbie. You go, boy. You tell all the men.
And Carrie says it's utterly ridiculous and the world knows it. People need to start standing up, though. We need to put an end to this madness because this can't continue.
Yeah, that is so true. It's crazy. It's craziness. So, yeah, that also happened in the last couple of weeks, right? Anything else in the Netherlands that happened?
I don't think so. I think those were the two that really caught my eye. Like, it just, because I was already talking about wanting to talk about the Netherlands, and then all of a sudden that popped up either late last night or early this morning, and it just, why?
It keeps happening with swimmers, with just all women's sports, now pageants. That's crazy. So, yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, and this one's really important for people to know about. I'm literally going to pull up this article and go through it. I don't normally go through articles, but I think it's really important for people to be aware of this. Not only is there going to be a BRICS summit, UN this year or next year will be talking about it's a 2024 summit, but I think it's happening in September. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, the UN is planning to seize global emergency powers with Biden's support. So this is the United Nations. And they're the ones that are talking about like the 2030 agenda and Pace for the Future. Oh, it's going to be September next year. Okay. So next year in September is when they're going to be hosting their Summit of the Future is what they're calling it. Summit of the Future, where member nations will adopt what they're calling a Pact for the Future. The agreement will solidify numerous policy reforms offered by the UN over the past 2 years as part of its sweeping Our Common Agenda. So that includes the 2030, all the climate stuff. But get this, This is a long article, but it's so important. I was going to read it, but honestly, I don't think I will. I'll go down to it gets worse. But basically, what they're doing is they are planning to be able to have emergency powers in special situations. And basically, it sums it up at the end, actually, is the emergency platform would centralize an immense amount of power, influence, given the United Nations greater control over the lives of Americans that it never had before. So basically, what they can do is if they have emergency powers, they can control everything. And some of the things they mentioned that will be the impetus of declaring an emergency could be a pandemic. It could be global, massive cyber attack, power outages, a natural disaster. Those happen daily.
Mm-hmm.
And they pretty much say, and whatever else they deem an emergency.
So basically, they just want an automatic way to go around our Constitution here.
Yep. It says the Secretary General of the United Nations would decide when to convene an emergency platform in response to a complex global shock. That's what they're calling them, a global shock. And the global shock is whatever the UN's leadership says it is, triggered whenever the UN desires. Not only that, in there, they can say, okay, the emergency is over, but we're going to extend our powers. And they can extend them for however long they want to after it's over. So I highly, highly, highly recommend find this article and read it. Otherwise, you can go to the Pact for the Future link here. It's literally at the UN under their Common Agenda Summit of the Future. And can you see my screen? Oh, I don't. No, you can't.
I can't. Not that one.
No, sorry. I opened it in a new tab. Right here. So it's under their Summit of the Future here. And it lays out all of their things. So as you can see, they started their 2030 agenda in 2015. They started the Common Agenda in 2021. Now they're going to do this Pact for the Future that all countries have to agree to. Please go here. Please read this stuff. There's links to all of their agendas. The 2030 agenda is linked here, and you can read all about that. That's about you will own nothing and be happy. It's all linked to the WEF, even though this is the UN. WEF is obviously World Economic Forum, is closely linked to this stuff.
And they're also trying to do this with the WHO as well.
If there's a climate emergency, they said they could. What would they consider a climate emergency?
A climate emergency like last year when temperatures in Europe were in the 80s, they thought that was an emergency.
So I don't need to spend a ton of time on this, but I feel like it needs to be exposed really, really, like share with your family and friends. Read about it, research it, find out about it. It's going to be September next year, right before the election. Right before the election. Interesting, huh?
Interesting timing.
And Biden is planning on signing and agreeing to it.
Of course he is.
Just know that. So that's all I wanted to cover there. Did you have anything related to that? Or
I don't.
Okay. Did you
that
have
one I wasn't aware of, so that one kind of hit me in the face.
Oh, good.
I'm still processing that one.
Yeah. I bet a lot of people are. Share that. I might have to clip that. And then
Andrew did say that if that's in September, it's right before the election. Would they declare an emergency when Trump wins? I would not be surprised.
Oh, could you imagine? Ooh. They also talk about the Paris Accords and that. So I've been, as you can tell, reading on that. Yeah, they'll all have to be a part of the Paris Accords, and it's crazy stuff. So, were there other current events? Another current event that is at the top of your list that you'd like to discuss?
Let's see, we covered that. Jack Dorsey thinks that the CIA killed JFK.
Jack Dorsey does? Did he
came out and said it in a video?
Really? Because
Yeah.
okay, so RFK Jr. said that. Somebody else recently said that too. Who was that? An ex-CIA person.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name.
I can't either. I'm drawing a blank. I remember seeing it though.
Wow. Jack Dorsey did
came out and
too.
said that.
Interesting. That's really interesting. A lot of that talk has been going on, and even Trump, like in one of his last rallies or speeches, said that he is going to unclassify all the rest of the JFK docs. Tucker, Angela. Angela says Tucker.
Okay, maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
No, but I'm thinking of an ex-CIA person, like a whistleblower.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of whistleblowers, there's a whistleblower in the news who went missing, and I didn't actually prepare a lot for this, but follow Just Human because he's talking a lot about this.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an interesting take on it. So there's this whistleblower that is part of the whistleblowers that Congress wants to have come testify about the finances behind the Bidens and some of the bribes that have been happening around the world and in Ukraine. And this latest whistleblower that went missing, I think last February or something, he was, what was his name? He was arrested in Cyprus. I think he's from Israel, but I think he's Israel American, so he's got dual citizenship. Let me look up his name because Just Humans, he's got it covered. He's pretty amazing. I don't remember, like it was started with a G, his name. I can't remember. Man, he's got a lot of stuff on here. I'm going through his Telegram. It might be too much. Shoot. But anyway, I just say follow him because he's got it covered. But basically, this guy was arrested and he has all these charges against him. And a lot of people are saying because he came out as a whistleblower that the DOJ is going after him because he was identified as a whistleblower. And it looks that way. But Kyle makes a good point that this guy has a shady past himself, and he's been a little suspicious before we heard this. And is he whistleblowing to get out of his own legal issues? So we don't know what's going on. This information war is kind of tricky. You don't know what to believe. I'm going to just probably not comment on that until I hear more stuff come out. But have you heard about that, Moxie?
I heard a little bit about that, but I'm in a position now where I am sick and tired of getting emotionally involved in every little thing that pops up. So I'm really just kind of sitting back and just watching everything because I don't even know what to make of a lot of the things that we're seeing. Like, none of it makes sense.
That's true. you know, I can see that. I just feel like this stuff with the Bidens is really important.
It is. It's very. I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm just saying I'm just not like getting super emotional about.
No, I'm not either. I'm not
trying
getting
to
no
pin it all down. It's just it is so much information coming at us at once, and it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, that whole situation though, like these whistleblowers, I guess, are highly respected folks, and witness to stuff. The stuff they say is actually backed up with bank statements, and they're following the money, and it's bad. It's bad.
It's very, very bad.
So, which actually reminds me, so you know, Hunter does have some charges against him, and he's getting a slap on the wrist, and you know, the whole world is blowing up, asking how can he get a sweetheart deal for these major crimes that they're lowering to misdemeanors, and but now the DOJ wants to delay. So the judge was supposed to this month make a decision as to whether he would accept the plea deal. And there's been so much pushback on it. Now the DOJ wants to ask the judge to delay the hearing and not have the judge make that decision yet. So I don't know what's going on there. Again, follow Just Human because he is so into it. And I feel bad. I don't think he's watching our show, but if he was, I would just want to say, Kyle, I'm sorry I haven't had time to watch your shows lately. but I love him. Luft, that's right. Or Luft. Is it Luft or Luft? Luft. Angela, thank you. And I think it's his first name starts with a G though.
Carrie has it over in Rumble chat.
Oh, what is it? Gal Luft. Thank you. It was like in my head, but I couldn't get it out. You know what I mean? Obviously, it wasn't in my head good enough because I haven't been reading enough about it. But yeah, I would follow him because he's got a ton of info on it. He is posting daily about what's happening there. And it is hard to keep up, but man, I would love to just gather all his little details and summarize it somehow, so people kind of can get what's going on or catch up, because it's hard to follow when you just see one little thing here or there. Yeah. So, oh yeah, this is an article you can read in the Daily Mail. His plea hearing could be delayed because the Justice Department was obviously getting a lot of pushback. And yeah.
So the thing that keeps popping up is the whistleblower thing. Do you guys remember back when they were saying whistleblowers need to be protected and you need to leave the whistleblowers alone? Like,
during Trump's impeachment?
Yeah, like we weren't allowed to question the whistleblowers or what they were saying or anything. But now they're doing everything they can to discredit the whistleblowers and find out who they are and out them and dox them and like,
that is a really good point. It just shows the hypocrisy,
the double standards.
Yep.
It's
we always have the saying that justice is supposed to be blind. They show Lady Justice with the, balancing the weights with the blindfold on her face. We need to get back to that.
Yeah, because right now she's peeking. She's peeking out from underneath that blindfold.
She's not peeking. She took the blindfold off, and those weights, she's letting people throw weights on those weights. So, yeah.
There was another Supreme Court case that I wanted to talk about. They shot down the student loans.
That's right.
And they used They used Pelosi's quote
Yep,
for the reason.
Yeah, Pelosi even said the president doesn't have the power to
That power lies with Congress.
take away loans. It lies with Congress, although he can delay them, which is what I think he's trying to do. He said he's still gonna try something, just like Harvard said they want to go around. They want to go around the Supreme Court justices' decisions, which they are the highest court in the land. They are the final say. But they're like, meh, forget the Supreme Court. We're going to do it anyway. We'll find a way. We'll
the
do it
thing
anyway.
is, with the Supreme Court, it's not like they're biased either, because I mean, their job isn't to be left wing, right wing. They are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. But their job is to determine the constitutionality of laws.
Absolutely.
Like, does the Constitution support this or does it not? And now they're talking about packing the court again.
Are they talking about that again?
They're wanting to pack the court with liberal justices so that they can get their way. So it's the same fight over and over again. But now they're trying to say that
there are activist judges, though. I will say that.
There are.
They could get an activist judge into the Supreme Court if the Senate confirms them, which the Senate is now it's majority Democrat. But it's not majority radical. It's majority Democrat. Same with the House. But man, those somehow those Democrats have a way of twisting people's arms and making them vote for radical things. Like, why are the Democrats allowing that? I don't get that. I don't get it. The Republicans don't. Like, the Republicans, some of them vote with the Democrats. Some of them just stand their ground and like, no, I don't agree with you. I'm not voting that way. Like, that's how everybody.
I have a feeling that there's stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know.
Well, yeah, obviously. Like bribes. Money, bribes, politics, and a lot of illegal activity, I'm sure. That's a good one, Moxie. I had no idea that they were talking about packing the Supreme Court.
They always do. Whenever something doesn't go their way in the Supreme Court, they start bringing that up ever since Biden came into office.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to talk about, just to put people maybe at ease, or maybe you think I'm crazy like with Macron.
I don't think you're crazy.
Well, I might be.
I might be too. I'm not a good judge of that.
No, I did want to touch on Elon Musk and Twitter hiding public tweets and doing rate limiting. So there is a video out there. I actually have it. I could show part of it, but it's like 8 minutes long. I'm not going to show the whole thing. Maybe I could close with it. Like, if you guys are really interested, put it in chat if you're interested in seeing this video. But it's a cyber guy that was in Trump's administration. He I think he worked for the State Department as like a assistant to the secretary or assistant secretary or something, but related to the technical side of things. So he covered tech. And he explained what happens. So I'll tell you what I think might be going on, and I might be wrong, but just based off of listening to him and seeing what Elon has said. And Elon even said somebody was over the target on something similar. But basically, this guy explained that nefarious characters like NGOs, so non-government organizations, and government can go in with technology, pretty much because there's access to all this data, that they can go in and scrape all the data, and that they take all like they look at the trends, they use AI and algorithms to analyze the data, and they see what's trending. And what they can do with that information is a lot. There are a few things. One thing that they can do is know what's trending so that they can come up with a counter narrative and either push through bots and try to push out a counter narrative, or go on other social media platforms and push a counter narrative so it doesn't spread to other social media sites. And the other social media companies are in cahoots with the government, so they're willing to allow that. The other thing that they can do is come up with propaganda for the media. I don't remember what was lifted in 2012 related to Obama, but it allowed the government to work with the media and put out propaganda to the American public. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but fake news has been fake news ever since then.
Absolutely.
And honestly, one of my friends said that she was red-pilled because not red-pilled, but woke up because she was watching CNN. I'm getting off track here, but that's okay. She was watching CNN, and they had a press conference with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was speaking. She was listening. She heard everything he said. She said, but then CNN came back with their talking heads and totally spun it and lied about what he just said. And she's like, that was her wake-up moment. She's like, oh my God, everything the news has ever told me about Donald Trump has been a lie. And she's just like, she did not vote for him. Then that made her want to vote for him in 2020. She went and found out all about Trump. And you don't know how many of my friends turned around from being a Democrat. But anyway, so they can do that. So they can work with the media to come up with propaganda. They can also identify the people who are spreading the trending information, and usually it's truthful, and target people and try to find out who they are. And they can target them for different things, whether it's trying to find out if they did something a little bit illegal and go after them. They can dox them if they're anonymous. They could go after their employers. You know what I mean? So they can target people. And but what I'm thinking happened was there was such a flood that there was an emergency. They had to shut down because it must have been big time data. Because one of the things that this guy had mentioned was Brian, what's his name? Brian, I need to find it. But what he mentioned was it him or was it another podcast I was watching about how much it costs for data to go in and out. So you pay for data based on data coming in and data coming out. And if it spikes, it could cost a lot of money. So Twitter had an open API. They also, had everything public. You could go to any tweet publicly and be anonymous without an account and get that data. You could write a Python script and just scrape away. I could write a Python script. I was actually looking into doing that so I could look up and just search for some things that I have trouble finding in the regular Twitter search. But yeah, so it can be used for nefarious purposes. So I just, I wanted to put that out there so that I don't think it's about hiding speech or for him to make money and force people to create an account so that they can go on Twitter Blue and be able to see more tweets. I think it's temporary until they figure out technically a fix for it. But that's what I think. And he did say it was temporary.
Yes. Also, Magnolia did confirm that it is Matt Taibbi that dropped the latest Twitter files this afternoon.
Thank you, Magnolia.
And the other thing that happened recently was Meta launched their Threads,
That's right.
a competition to Twitter. And
But Twitter's suing them.
yes, which is super interesting.
Well, ex-Twitter employees went to Meta and copied Twitter's code. And that's what they used. You can't do that.
You cannot do that. I had a meme that I forgot to send, but it had a picture, or it had a real cat, and then it had a cat made of like cake. I don't know, maybe or plaster. But one was marked Twitter, and it was like the real cat, and the cake one or plaster, whatever it was Threads, and it was like, have you seen that show Nailed It on Netflix? Like the cake making thing where amateur bakers try to duplicate.
I don't do Netflix.
That's fair.
Okay.
But like, or have you seen like Pinterest fails where people try to duplicate something
No.
and then they make something that looks nothing like it? It was like that.
I'm so out of the hip stuff. I'm an old lady. I'm like everybody's auntie or aunt. But yeah, I'm Auntie Nevs. So I feel like Mama Bear over all the Anons and different people. Yeah, I'm older than everybody. I'm an old lady.
I had completely forgotten to put that on my list, but then we started talking about Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah. Oh,
Hi, hello.
Hi,
Oh,
I
I
didn't
should have
eat anything.
Oliver come. Oliver, come here, Oliver. It's doggy time. It's furry baby time. Come here, Oliver. Oh, Oliver's like coming super slow. He was sleeping. Come here. Come here.
Willow's trying to
Yes,
tell me that it's almost supper time, I think.
Oh, yeah. We should probably. I have so many more things I could share. Like AOC endorsed Biden and the left is freaking out about it. Let me just mention one more thing. Ray Epps. Y'all have heard of Ray Epps?
He's
The one that everybody is suspicious is a Fed that was telling people on January 6th to go to the Capitol and take it down or whatever. And the FBI is not going after him, but he's going after people who didn't encourage that. Yeah, he's suing Fox News for defamation of character, even though he's on film. He's on film.
He's on film.
Yes. So, yeah, I did.
He's on film being called a Fed.
Yeah, they were saying, oh, yeah, I think, do I have that? Let me see.
So,
I did post the video, but I don't have it here.
It's just insanity that we're living in right now. It's just the whole news cycle is just insanity.
I have to apologize. I think I swallowed some air.
Oh no.
Anyway, yeah, I think it's a good closing point. There's a lot that's been going on the last couple of weeks. I can't even believe how much. I'm sure we missed like 70% of what's
there's
been
probably
happening.
50 million other things we could have talked about.
Probably. But this was fun. I kind of like just kind of going through stuff with people once in a while.
And depending on how the next week goes, we might have to do this again next week.
I know. Comey's supposed to have some kind of big information coming out this week. I was hoping it would be before our podcast, but yeah, I had fun tonight. I hope, thank you everybody who joined us. I hope you had a good time as well. Carrie, we missed you. We love you. We're thinking about you. Yeah. So we will see you online, whether it's Telegram. Oh, should I show our Telegram and Twitter and stuff? Let me do that. So anybody who maybe doesn't follow us and you're new to the podcast, you can follow us here. We've got it under our names here. Nev's channel on Telegram is where I'm most active, is on Telegram. But I'm also on Truth Social as Nevs and Nevs TV on Twitter. I will be more active on those platforms soon. But you, Moxie?
Over on Truth Social, I am A Rose is a Rose. On Twitter, I'm Angela Moxie, and on Telegram, I am MoxieBot Original. I'm not a bot. You guys can tell.
Moxie's not a bot.
I outed myself. But it didn't fit in my little box that I had here. It wouldn't let me put more things in. So
I was going to ask if those robots in the beginning were actually you or one of them. I don't know. All right. Well, y'all have a good night, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
I can see clear.